Hello, fifth grade. Mrs. Hales here with our last day of our macro insect or pollinator lesson. Today we're going to be coloring our insects. You should have thought about what color you wanted to make your insect when you made your background. We talked about colors last class. We talked about complementary colors, but you didn't have to use complementary colors. I did not use complementary colors in my picture. But you are welcome to color them however you'd like. I can just offer you advice as to what I think would look good. We're going to color the insects a lot like we colored the background, where we're overlapping the colors to get them to blend. Supplies you're going to need today include colored pencils, an eraser, and your drawing from last class, and you might need a pencil sharpener. Let's get started. Since my butterfly edges are black, I didn't have to make a decision about if I was going to outline my butterfly in black. So I did, because he is black. It's up to you. If your butterfly is like, I don't know, let's say you did a moth and he's like orange and pink, you don't have to outline that in black. You could just use a lot of pressure and thick, juicy color to kind of define that moth on your flower. You can also use contrasting or complementary colors to define that moth on your flower. So I'm coloring right now in the black parts of my butterfly, which I outlined first. And I'm pushing down fairly hard, again, because I want that color to be rich and juicy on my page. I already colored the center of my insect, and I faded my color. If you can imagine, my insect body is round. Where the top of his body was, I left highlights. And so I faded my color to, like, it looks like a gray, but it's really just that light black pressure with my pencil. And now I'm trying to get a solid black, all in between the blue and white patterns or shapes on his back. And looking at the blue color of his body, of his wings, the bottom wings are actually a little bit darker than the top wings. And the color fades from like a purple to a blue to a little bit lighter blue at the top of each of those shapes. So I'm going to start with a darker blue, and I'm going to push down hard. And then using that same blue, I'm going to lighten up my pressure as I go towards the middle of each shape. And then the top of each shape, I'm going to do one shade lighter blue and blend that in and over top of the second or the middle shade of blue. So we are dealing with value here a little bit, not in terms of how we're adding black to our color, but we're using shades, different shades of blue. So we are using value a little bit. So now you can see I have a lighter blue, and I'm coloring over the whole like top 2/3 of each shape with this lighter blue. And because I didn't have any color underneath it at the top of each shape, that's where it's the lightest. But I'm actually using the pencil itself to blend my colors. It's a good idea to put a piece of scrap paper under your hand. I noticed that my black colored pencil was smearing where my hand was resting on it on the right. So on the top of my butterfly in these blue shapes, this is the lightest blue color. So I'm going to color this whole shape with the lightest blue. Continued using this same technique throughout all of the blue sections of my butterfly. They fade from dark at the bottom to lighter at the top, most of them. I also took a purple pencil and went over the edges of on the bottom wings. Now I am taking a green colored pencil, and I'm going over my edges and putting a little bit more color in the center, trying to create some depth and some visual interest so my flowers don't just look straight white. Let's talk about the art elements we used in this project. We definitely used line, we used color, we used shape, we used form. So if you gave your insect or your flower petals or the center of your flower or leaf any sort of highlights, and you tried to create depth and dimension, then you used form. If you have any kind of pattern or visual interest on your leaf or your honeycomb or the center of your flower, then you used texture. We used space because we designed our compositions, and you used value if you faded from dark to light in anywhere in your picture, like in the leaf or any of the petals or anywhere on your insect. We also used a couple of the principles of design. You could have used pattern, you could have used repetition. We definitely used emphasis because our entire project, that's what it was. It was a macro picture. So we emphasized the center of our flower and the center of the insect. So depending on how your composition was, you probably used emphasis as well. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed this project as much as I did, and I will see you next time.